2022 Endurance E-Racing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, Aztec SimSports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Stengolm, ESTV and Film Vault Limited.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online. Or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info. Or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN. Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Welcome back to the final hour of the GTR 24H EEWC round number 3. The 12 hours of Sebring is drawing to a close within the next 60 minutes. We started this race in 1 month. It's going to finish in another. That's quite an interesting boost to make. It's not been that long. It's just that's the way that it's gone. So then, even in the last hour when I was having a break, it's changed quite a bit. Other than the top of the DPIs, Michi Hoyer back in the car for the final stint. He's going to be picking up the honours for the 18 best eSports Simplexity squad, assuming that no major incidents befall them. There is Tonnie Jansen for Deuces Motorsport Club. The number 74 car has been the top of the GTE tree for quite a while. DIS SimRacing Lab up into second for them, with MCM now up into third. We've had any more? We had a disconnect, but no more retirements since a little while. Oh, yellow flag. That's the 166 car. Michael Peterson in the United SimSport car has had a bit of a moment, but is back up and running again. LMP2 still, well, that's forever changing. That's been forever changing hands all race long. Robert Paun in the Deuces Motorsport number 15 is leading the way in that class now, with Inigo Anton for SEM9 Axle in second. And for GT3s, it is now the 404 Glam Racing car of Lee Russell. See, I made the point that Azatec were comfortably in the lead. I should have known better than to make a statement before then going on a break.
I mean, we'll never learn our lessons, wisdom. Anyway, by the way, pinch punch first day of the month.
Yes, indeed. It is now the first of May.
Whoa,
Robert Paun is in. Oh, it's
rain.
Really going for it now. It's back. The rain is made a second visit. Now, we did say earlier in the broadcast that it was no guarantee that rain wouldn't reappear, and that's exactly what it has done. Is that going to cause reshuffling in the order? Well, Inigo Anton for SEM9 Axle has taken the LME2 lead. That's changed hands so often in this race. Whoa! One Amaya for the 264 Satellite Racing squad, really sliding the car around the corners, doing well to keep that one on the track. They still remain, what are they, about 8.5 seconds behind Michael Peterson following their recent spin. Oh, yellow sector 1. I think that's blue flags more than it's a yellow one. Yes, people are obeying blue flags more than anything else. Fair enough. Nicely done. There is Robert Paun. Oh, nearly slamming into the back of the CKR car. Now up into podium spot for, it's now back in the hand of Leandro Adele, I should say. They've been in that podium position for a while. Alicio Neto still in the helm of the 585 car. But 404 Lee Russell, they did say, didn't they, Kieran, that Lee Russell was the man to do the job for the 404 squad. And that would seem to be the case.
Seems to be the case indeed. And I mean, they were jumping for joy as soon as the rain is falling. I wonder how they'll be feeling now, because looking at the radar, this rain is here to stay for quite some time. Almost the entirety of Florida is under rain right now, which is a good sign if you're Glam Racing, because you've been wanting this rain, you've been wishing this rain, you've been absolutely dancing for this rain for the past 11 hours. It's finally here, and it looks like it's going to be here to stay. Robert Paun then in the number 15 Deuces Motorsports Club car, only 6.2 behind Inigo Anton, which possibly means that Anton is due a pit stop in the near future. And I just wonder, even with a little bit of water on the track, obviously you do get less fuel when you're running in the wet, but is that going to be enough to run 3.5 minutes for Robert Paun to get himself to the checkered flag?
Robert Paun has not long been in the pits, remember, so we will see. It's going to be the after that. What I have seen endurance races lost in the closing stages due to a splash and dash, so we will see. I mean, that would be absolutely devastating if the lead changed in either direction in the closing stages. Trouble has befallen the 166, the ID SimSport car. Michael Peterson at a disconnect there. That car is in the garage. Has another GTE car. That was almost half the GTE squad. In fact, there would be half of the GTE contingent to have fallen by the wayside if that has disconnected without return. That's a great shame for them if that is the case. But that means one Amaya for Satellite is back up into fourth. Let's have a summary of who is where. So this is the championship standings as they would stand if the race ended now, with Deuces Motorsport extending their lead rather comprehensively up top. But look at that, DIS SimRacing Lab would jump up into second. Look at that. So by 1 point over Mugen SimRacing, who we lost early on, who are 1 point ahead of MPE Mustafa Pescara, who we lost earlier on, who are 1 point ahead of the MCM Motorsport, who are still going in this race, and they would come home in third. Then Satellite Racing 264 and bring home 12 points, would be in sixth position. Then Unison would be level on 28 points, heading towards Interlagos. ID SimSport, well, are they reappearing? That's the thing. I mean, literally, just as I mentioned those words, they actually, it lives. It's back into life. They have returned to the circuit. So yes, they will stay on course for that fifth position. In GT3s, it's the Azatec SimSport car by a very narrow margin, as you can see. But it's still between Volante and CKR, but a 3-point deficit to the Audi's favour. If the race, of course, ended now, still time for that to change if that is the case. CKR in second with Glam Racing, if they take the win, will be just 2 points behind and then 1 point ahead of B32 and Mugen SimRacing. As we lost the Mugen 82 car very, very early. It was indeed the first car to retire when Ronan Sukes sadly parked the car. But they would still, because they took part and they actually did some laps, they would still come home with those 6 points. With Gadget Huset in 6th position and Teleforeningen getting home a decent haul, but still at the bottom of the tree for GT3. 50 minutes remain and the rain is getting heavier. That's not what the drivers would have wanted to see.
Not what they wanted to see. The rain getting heavier and heavier. It's to stay pretty much for the rest of the race now. This is it for the drivers, and looking at it, we'll have to wait and see how everything down. I mean, we've seen rain heavier than this. You've seen rain heavier than this during this race. Oh, that's a bit of a nervous back end then from the DIS SimRacing Lab. You do not want to be visiting the wall this late on. You've got second place at the moment under your boots. Not want to be making those sorts of moves, as Robert Paun watching on ahead as other drivers try and find their way through, as that's Inigo Anton, and that is a change for the lead of LMP2, and Inigo Anton is going to be straight back on it, trying to go down the inside, heading towards turn 1, still got the inside line. Paul will have to go the long way round if he wants that position. He doesn't go the long way round, stays right behind him there, and briefly Deuces were back into the lead of this race, but Inigo Anton had very much other ideas.
I was seeing that gap. I was noticing it was very, very short. Robert Paun has had quite a big pace advantage over the SEM9 Axle squad for a few laps, but Inigo Anton quite clearly not content to just let that lead change hands, and absolutely, why should he? That's been a very hotly contested category all race long and is still remaining to be the case. They have the MCM car right in the way, Angel Banegas in control of the 27 car at the moment, but they easily dispatch of that. That's given Inigo a tiny bit of breathing space at only about 8/10 of a second, which, if Robert Paun continues his merry way, will close back down pretty quickly. So we are looking strong to have a real dash to the line for the lead of the LMP2 class. There's third in LMP2, James Dziuba for Satellite Racing, the 164 car. Is a bit of a distance back from the top two, but does have about a 50-second gap between himself and Damien Scavron. There is Michael Peterson, who sadly had that disconnect earlier on, so that puts them quite conclusively in the wooden spoon position for the GTE class, as they are a few laps behind their main competitors, which will be Juan Amaya and the Satellite Racing car. There's Lee Russell that leads the GT3s, now by a lap in hand over Azatec SimSports, as you can see on the tower, due to the 585 car having that disconnect earlier on. But pressing on nonetheless, everything can still change. 3/4 of an hour remains, and still it's not a done deal realistically for any of our categories.
No, not at all. And I mean, what a victory this could be for Glam Racing. They are bottom of the table on going into the GT3 Championship tonight, but they have a chance to put 25 points under their name with the 82 car not finishing this race. That is going to shake up this table tenfold in GT3. We're watching on Robert Paun then, and they now make their way through the curve and up towards the hairpin turn, and they make their way towards the end of the lap. Again, Robert Paun has done this once before, try and make his way past, and he'll be looking and angling to try and do it again. Trying to get his way past Inigo Anton, but that's the Glam Racing car. They know they're not going to take any risks here to try, or maybe they are going to take a risk or two. And there we go. Lee Russell's clearly had a change of heart going towards that corner. Okay, fair enough, Lee. You've proved me wrong there. But
I suspect that was Robert Paun being a little more cautious than Lee Russell was actually expecting there, as we've got the Satellite Racing GTE phasing out of existence. There he is, doing a bit of lag motion there, which is a little bit disconcerting when you're the one following it. Robert Paun he seems to have lost his... Oh, no, that's not ideal. I wonder whether that Deuces Motorsport car has a more slimline design, or wing set up for the dry conditions, and the SEM9 car is more downforce heavy, which suits the wetter weather conditions. Because whilst Robert Paun has obviously tripped over those two GTEs, get round, and which he does. Yeah, he has managed to keep that one under control. I wonder whether the 15 car is more, it's got the skinnier wings, which better suit the dry, which was enabled him to close in. Oh, blown engine! Was that blown engine in the 33?
There's smoke coming out of the back of the car there for Sebastian Deville. And, well, did they make it back to the pits? Are they still running out there? They are still out there.
They are
at the moment. Production say there was a lot of smoke out of the back of the car. It looks okay for now. Maybe still a worrying sign for the team there. But Robert Paun trying to find his way back through. 7 seconds separates himself and Inigo Anton. Moment, still 3/4 of an hour to go. 3/4 of an hour of the 12 hours of Sebring. After that, Chris Buxton, we'll be halfway through the Endurance E-Racing World Championship. It's absolutely flown by.
Hasn't it just?
It's just been the two of us in the commentary box. We've had our fantastic production team behind us in Peter and Niels. They have been just pretty much on it the whole time. We've had the luxury of breaks, Chris. They haven't had a lot of breaks today. They've had to be straight on it.
Indeed. We literally couldn't do it without you. So huge special thanks to our production crew for dealing with us bonkers Englishmen for a start. But just going through the whole, and that's not just what the stream is seeing. It's all the setup and getting all the technical issues ironed out before we even went live. And they haven't stopped whatsoever. As you say, Kieran, we have had the luxury of a break here and there. But our wonderful production crew have stayed with it throughout. So huge appreciation to you guys. Oh, that's a slide for James Dziuba. I love that slow motion. That's a great. It was. That's rather put a nail in the coffin for the 164. At least he didn't have far to go to limp the car home. That was painful.
Yeah, that was painful. I did want to say that you said technical issues before we started the stream. Are you sure you're not referring to us, that the production crew realised that we were on the comms tonight and they thought, oh no, not those issues.
Who picked them?
But no, I mean, 12 hours for a two-person commentary team. The great adrenaline of an endurance race keeps the drivers going. It keeps us going as well. And it's been great to chat to a few drivers actually, throughout the race. So we want to just say a big thank you to the drivers. Although it's not mandatory, we do love having a chat to you, seeing how it's going. And we get some characters. We love a couple of characters up here. We really, really do. Yellow flags out in Sector 3, which have been quickly cleared. So maybe just a slight off-track excursion. Robert Paun is back ahead of Inigo Anton and James Dziuba here. But is he still in the pit lane? I don't think he is anymore. I think it was because he was so close to the pit lane and he managed to get himself away again. That does mean, where is Damien Scoffin? Not too far behind, about 2.6 is he? Oh, he's coming.
They're in the pits. They're both in the pits actually. So the Satellite Racing 164 and the Burst eSports Good Sunglasses squads are both in the pits at the moment. So I'm assuming that Damien Scoffin is in for a scheduled stop. The one for James Dziuba most certainly wasn't. And there it is. Still. Oh, there we go. And magically. Well, that's an interesting design for a rear wing, the instantly materialising one. But right behind them, that is Denis Eshcenko. So we've got a fight for third place, and strictly speaking, wooden spoon avoidance as well, because there's only 4 of the LMP2 cars remaining. But that's more a fight for a podium than it is for avoiding fourths.
I was going to say, it's a bit harsh to call it a wooden spoon battle, but it is actually the battle for the last podium. That was slightly harsh. Yeah,
it's not ideal, but as I say, there is only 4 of the cars running. But James Dziuba is going to have he's really going to have to work hard. Because Denis Eshcenko, when the luck's been with him, he's been really, really rapid. He's led the class quite a number of times. Actually, all 4 of the remaining LMP2s have led the class at various intervals. But Eshcenko is pretty quick, particularly in these conditions. So that's going to be a great battle to keep an eye on. And there they are in that particular camera shot. The picture-in-picture is looking back from Robert Paun's car. You won't see Inigo Anton, he's a minute behind, but he's got still got to keep his own car, or the Deuces Motorsport number 15. He's still got to keep it in good check. But James Dziuba, keeping a very firm eye on the gap between him and Denis Eshcenko. And that gap has, it obviously ebbs and flows as it normally does, but that's been coming down since they came out of the pit lane. So, going to be keeping a very close eye between those two.
Indeed, as the rain keeps falling here at Sebring, and it pretty much will do for the rest of the race here. Riding aboard then with Denis Eshcenko, trying to chase down James Dziuba. 2 seconds is the gap between them at the moment, and well, heading towards the final half an hour. It might be. Is it ever a good time to have a look at the standings before we go into anything? I mean, it's raining. There could be a lot of mistakes, but I reckon if production are happy with it, we'll run through what they look like, the standings for this race, class by class.
Well, we're a little bit slave to production, because we can ask for something, but if they don't feel like doing it, there's nothing we can do.
That's true. That's very true.
If we have a look at who's where, the current order of the race, just have a summary of that as we are fast approaching the final half an hour of this
give it a
race.
prod. Give it a prod. Get it working.
Hit it with stick. Michi Hoyer for eSports Simplexity at the top of the tree. Then it is Naquib Azlan in second for SEM9 Axle. In third is Denis Eshcenko for Unison. Fourth is Oni Sinik for Miradnis. And 5 is Sebastian Deville for Adrenaline. The number 1 car, Time Viaductant, was parked quite a while ago. So they, of course, not taking any further parts. Fair play for Sebastian Deville. We did speak to him earlier on, and they were just keen to bring the car home, and they have wrestled that on. They're 8 laps down, but they have carried on anyway, so fair play to them. LMP2s led by the number 15 car, Robert Paun in control of that one, and they were the fastest LMP2 car out there last time around, so doing what he can to maintain the already impressive lead he's got. Inigo Anton in the number 21 SEM9 Axle car in second, with James Dziuba in the 164 Satellite car in third, and Denis Eshcenko a couple of seconds behind in the 94 Best eSports car. We lost Beze Horvath right at the beginning of the race, unfortunately, in the 77.
I'm guessing GTE's here, 74 Deuces Motorsports Club. I mean, only the top 5 are running in this race right now, but Deuces Motorsports Club are leading the way. DIS SimRacing Lab in second place, with MCM Motorsport in third. The 264 Satellite Racing in fourth place, and ID SimSport the last of the runners here in fifth place, with Unison Racing, Mustard Pescara 54 and 53, and the Unison Racing number 67 all retired from the race. And looking to GT3, the final class, 6 runners so far in this race, and it's Golan Racing leading the way, looking for their first win of the season as a Tech Sim Sports by Volante Racing, the 585 in second place, CKR number 13 in third, and it's B32 Racing in fourth, the 188 of Teleforinigan in fifth place, and sixth place the 777 DSR Gadget, who sits still running in this race. one retirement from GT3, the 82 Mugen Sim Racing not running anymore and not playing anymore. Those are your standings across the 4 classes. It's been, well, very, very interesting show tonight, hasn't it? We've had a lot of dry running, some great battles in the first 2 hours. The rain hit with about 3 hours to go, and it's been really treacherous conditions. The rain is still getting heavier as we progress through, so concentration is going to be an absolute critical point as Denis Eshcenko closes in on James Dziuba. We started those standings and they were about 2 seconds apart. Now the gap's just over 6/10.
Oh, look at that weather forecast. Oh my, that's gonna get heavy. This is obviously the greener it is, the lighter the rain. So the more towards blue and red is the heavier it becomes. So, oh dear. So as the fatigue is at its highest, is when the rain is going to get pretty nasty. In the final half an hour, as we see the Aztec Audi get very, very squiggly coming out of Sunset there. We could still see some big incidents. I'll say the race is not done until the checkered flag falls. In Skowron, as you can see, has closed back in on the 164 satellite car. James Dziuba in charge of that one. So exactly as you say, Kieran, Damien's done a great job to close that one down. So the LMP2 last podium spot, we'll call it that rather than windscreen avoidance, because like I said, it's a little bit unfair to call it so, is still very much on. It's going to be a real test on who's got the optimum wet setup if that rain gets as heavy as we think it's going to get. So it's still falling about 5 millimeters now, which when you say it like that doesn't sound a lot, but we've seen how heavy that gets. From the just by watching from the onboard shot, from the stationary pictures. But earlier on, we was up to over 20 mil an hour. That was a monsoon kind of territory. And by the look of the weather radar, we may well be hitting that again.
Well, indeed, and yellow flags out there in Sector 1, which have been quickly cleared. Just an off-track excursion for a team. But yes, I mean, it only takes about 3 millimeters an hour for the track to get progressively wet, and wet quite quickly as well, to a point where you need to think about taking a different line through some corners. But we are looking towards the end of this race, and I mean, great camera angle there, showing us the water out on track as the cars pass through. What a great shot that is. Rain falling onto the track. I mean, I have to say that the implementation of a weather radar for what's actually happening at Sebring and replicating it in the sim to give those drivers that extra sense of unpredictability, what a fantastic idea, because it really has kept us all on the edge of our seats. It's been a wonderful addition.
Yeah, amen to that. And you get a great look of these cars coming through turn 2. It's a wonderful camera placement there as we look back at Denis Eshcenko. Still chasing the satellite racing car of James Dziuba. Oh, that's the DIS SimRacing Lab Porsche. Trying his best to tiptoe around the corner and stay out of the way, which in these conditions is not an easy feat. Well done from all 3 drivers there, because that could have gone horribly, horribly wrong. But I think it's time to cue up the last commercial break of this race, because once we've completed the final half an hour, believe it or not, it's a checkered flag that comes along, and then we'll be having a chat to some of our drivers, whoever want to make themselves apparent to us. We'll of course want to speak to our race winning teams from each category, but we'll see who is going to be available when we get there. So don't go anywhere. The final 30 minutes of this 12 hours of Sebring await when we come back after these messages.
The 2022 Endurance E-Racing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriots, Aztec SimSports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Stengolm, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN. Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Welcome back to the GTR 24H EEWC round number 3, the final half an hour here at Sebring. 11.5 hours down, just 30 minutes remain. Scott Vaughan has had a bit of an issue. He tangled up with the Delaforini in BMW like that. Just understeered into the tail end of the car, round he went, and I suspect there were a few angry words said that we couldn't repeat here if we tried. As he's now caught back up with the aforementioned BMW with the CKR car thrown in for good measure. Some lovely slow-mo shot here that gives us how the cars are still bouncing around on the circuit. Very, very slippery, and with the bumps as well. So that's the satellite car with the Deuces car in the middle, and then you've got, believe it or not, that's actually the 404 at the back of it. I was about to say that's actually the black McLaren, but no, that's actually the purple Audi on the back of that shot. You couldn't see it through all the spray. There is Scott Vaughan then, so that mistake dropped in about 8.4 seconds behind James Dziuba, who he was previously catching or looking to challenge at very least for that third spot. That's going to be difficult to do. There's 8.5 seconds with not a great deal of pace difference between the two. It's going to be difficult to make up in the remaining 27.5 minutes, and especially if we are expecting a lot of heavy rain remaining. Ooh, that's going to be tricky for them. That's, who knows? We'll see.
We'll see indeed. There's only one way to find out. Keep rolling down the clock, keep potting in these laps, and let the rain get heavier and heavier. We see the cars pass their way through the hairpin turn and then on towards the Fangio chicane. And Robert Paun still leading the LMP2 classes here. And, well, it's been a race that's had a little bit of everything. So that's easy to say over 12 hours, but it really has. We've had great battles for leads across all classes. We've had a bit of drama here, there and everywhere. We've had a couple of penalties. We've had rain. We've had a little bit of uncertainty. We've had great driver interviews. I mean, the whole lot. It's been brilliant, and it is a shame there's only 26 minutes left, but I mean, like most things, Chris, in fact, all good things have to come to an end at some point.
Very, very true. I suspect the drivers would be pretty fed up if it didn't come up to an end. It would be a case of last man standing. I think.
Yeah. I think they'd be pretty miffed if they entered the 12 hours of Sebring and it just went on and on and on.
Yeah. What we should do is just cross out the 12 hours off. Just say Sebring until the last one falls. Basically, as we come back from the 104th commercial break, we say welcome back. Would essentially be what you would see there. I know I wouldn't make it beyond that point. Our incredible Danish production crew might be better than me. I can imagine just like, Chris, for God's sake, wake up! Well, yes, I'm.
I was awake. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you fell asleep. Henri Seneka's just had a bit of a spin. He's brought out a yellow flag briefly. So the track is getting slipperier out there, which is going to cause a few more incidents. I would imagine 25 minutes remain.
And it's been great to have you along with us as well, watching on. If you've been watching us for a second, a minute, an hour, maybe the entire thing, how on earth have you managed that? Well, it's been great to have you along with us. And on the YouTube chat as well, it's been great to hear from you all. And just in that last 25 minutes, let us know who you're supporting. Let us know who the flags are flying for. And, well, let us know how your team are getting on. We've got Burst eSports Simplexity leading the Hyperclass car. We've got Deuces Motorsport Club leading both the LMP2s and GTE classes. And we've got Glam Racing leading the GT3 class. So it's going to be a pretty good day if it finishes like this in 25 minutes time for Deuces Motorsport Club. They've had a fantastic day today.
Haven't they just? Can we commentator curse them any harder, I wonder?
I know. They're not going. I tell you what, Nick Newcomb's not going to like me if that's what happens now, Chris. Nick Newcomb is going to hate me for that one. We won't be friends after that. We'll be
off the Christmas card list.
That's it.
Trouble for the treble sevens. That was Steven Salzgaard. That's the Sector 3 checker flag that just come out. I dare say that's at Sunset Bend. That's the usual trouble spot in Sector 3. That has disappeared fairly quickly, and on he goes nonetheless. Gavron still chasing. He has closed in a bit of the gap between himself and James Dziuba, so that's down by a couple of seconds. The lap times are getting a bit bigger, but not by masses. So it's not suddenly jumped up 10 seconds or anything like that. So it's climbing slowly. But Denis Eshcenko was actually one of the fastest cars, not just in class, but actually on track last time around. So it could be that I suspect other people are just going into bring it home mode now, because this final hour, final half hour must feel very, very long, especially for those that have been in the car quite some time already. I mean, Denis Eshcenko, he's one of those drivers. He's been in the car for forever. We'll see another yellow flag. That is Angel Banegas in the MCM number 27. That's almost certain in Sunset Bend again.
See, Chris, you're one step ahead of me here. Say, oh, I know who that is, and you read off the name so perfectly, all ahead of the curve. No, don't say sorry. It's fantastic. What has happened to Angel? Oh, that's aquaplaning. That is aquaplaning into the wall at Sunset Bend. It's so easy to do. If you add the bumps and add a little bit of water on there, you just get absolute carnage. That's a view. Have they been up there for 12 hours?
And that was pretty cold up there.
I wouldn't say so, and wet as well.
That's quite some height. I mean, good for you, sure, but yeah, they'll need a towel.
I think they'll need more than a towel. They'll need at least two.
Yes. That's when they realise that the person that actually put the crane up there, like the battery's gone or the starter motor's dead, so they can't actually get down. There's no ladder up there. So there's a practical joke waiting for someone. Short-circuited, yes. It's not actually weatherproof, and so we'll watch the race and then we'll figure out how to get down afterwards. Conversation derailed.
It's a very dark world you've just made there. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm sure we can ponder how they get down from that.
You're trying to think of how to steer the conversation back on course now. Yeah.
It's not working, is it? It's really, really not working. I tried.
It's late in the day. It's late in the race, but we'll get there. That yellow flag was Michael Pedersen of the 166 squad. Very brief excursion somewhere and back out on track once again. We are still looking at Daniel Scovron for the Best Esports Good Sunglasses team. They have lost time now on James Dziuba, or so less now. I suspect that particular lap is going to be a bit slower. Yes, it was. They lost about 4 seconds on that particular route around the circuit. Everyone else is pretty much just gone into bring it home mode now, and I mean, you can't really blame anybody. How gutting would it be to fall at this very, very late stage with just over 20 minutes to go, like so? There's another one on the commentary curse counter for me.
That's the satellite one.
It was one Amaya that was facing sideways. Whether there was a tap between Seth and Lee Russell, we didn't quite see. But I mean, that wasn't for on-track position either. Again, not class position, because that's the GT3 leader that was tangling up with one of the GTE cars. But yeah, again, that'll be just slippery conditions, probably a fair amount of fatigue, and a sprinkling of just minor mistake.
Yeah, we've got, I think that's, Happy Racing in the YouTube chat. I think that's Alex Secher. They can't believe crashed out of the race. Dry tyres should not have been chosen. The only problem is, Alex, is that hindsight is always 2020. But, I mean, you gave it a go. And Aztec, where are they at the moment? Aztec are currently second place. So, not the end of the world, still half the championship to go. You just never know. But, yeah, I wouldn't look too much into it, Alex. Hindsight's always 2020. And the annoying thing is that hindsight's always right, which is really, really annoying.
Yes, how's it happen, doesn't it? It's not often hindsight's proven wrong. But that's the nature of the beast. You have, as Kieran says, you've got plenty of rounds to still climb up through the ranks, and it's still a very, very hotly contested scoreboard in G3 in particular.
As Deuces Motorsport Club, the leaders of GTE, yellow flag. Somewhere out in Sector 3, they've since recovered and got back going again. In fact, that was then through Sunset Bend. I wonder if they had a moment there. This is Denis Eshcenko, who's also coming through Sunset Bend. This is a replay. But what happens here? Oh, aquaplanes! Oh, wow.
It looked like he was going to hold that for a while, didn't it? Because he was following that very wide line. Then just the front decided, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, it just understeered, like the understeer, the aquaplane as well, just decided, no, you've got no more grip anymore, that's that. As I'm pretty sure the Deuces Motorsport Club also found similar fate. Aztec, yellow flag in Sector 2, they've got themselves back going again. Eliseo Neto at the wheel of that one, so maybe just a minor excursion. Now back up and running once again as we watch on with Damien Scovron. Start finish line awaits. Checkered flag will be there in about 18 minutes time. Another yellow flag out for Eliseo Neto, Sector 2. Has now been cleared again, so Eliseo, it's not been a great lap for him so far, with 2 yellow flags in the same lap. Looking at it, a lap ahead of CKR, so nothing too concerning right now, but he's got to make sure he keeps that within the white lines. As Michi Hoyer,
whoa! That was the Aztec car.
It was, and Michi Hoyer has lost a rear wing. Now 3 laps might be okay, but Eliseo Neto, so that would have been the second yellow flag with no rear wing. So he's lost the car then. And as he's tried to put the anchors, eclipse the burst car, sends it into the wall. There's absolutely nothing Michi can do about that one. And he now has to limp it back to the pits, get a new rear wing on, and hope that nobody else catches him behind. SEM9 Axle have just leant forward in their seats a little bit now.
Yeah, and there is the reshapen Best Esports Simplexity car. He's not going to be... Oh, he's overshot his pit box. Yeah, sorry, Michi, we saw that one.
Michi is going to be furious with that one, but there's not a lot more he could have done there.
No, it's just unlucky. Unfortunately, the Audi just could not stop quick enough. That's all that really was. But both cars have made it to the pits. Oh, this will be interesting.
I'll let you know what happened.
Yeah, he rolled backwards. He spun and rolled backwards.
Road America PTSDs.
Well, the important thing for Michi is that, you know, the car's being repaired. That's the most important thing. Get that car to the end. And this is what I was saying when Glam Racing, I was having a chat with production whilst you were on your hour break there, Chris, that, you know, Glam Racing were in a position to just get to the end, but you can rely on yourself getting to the end, not making any mistakes, but others around you, you can't account for that. There goes the Acetec car. Obviously a bit of a quicker fix with the GT car to get that fixed, but a longer stop for Michi Hoyer. So let's have a look and see. The SEM9 Axle are within sector 3 now of their lap, but they'll be going on to 367 laps completed, so still a very sizable gap. Yellow flags in sector 1, briefly out for DIS SimRacing Lab. The yellow flags have now been withdrawn. Back under green flags there. Yeah, Michi Hoyer still in the pits though, as SEM9 Axle will come past, get a lap undone. They're still 2 laps ahead at the moment, so still okay for Michi Hoyer, but that does mean the repairs can't go on for longer than 4 minutes now, which they shouldn't do. You should be away within the next couple of minutes.
Can you imagine everything? Yeah, they've led all race long, and it came down to that incident in the last 20 minutes. Can you imagine if that actually changed the lead of the DPI? But
there we go.
We will see. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I couldn't imagine that he had so much damage that he would have been in there that long. So SEM9 Axle, as much as they could have tried to close that down, that was never going to swing into their favour. So Michi Hoyer then back underway to bring that one home. A very unfortunate incident. There won't be time to have a penalty applied to, well, I mean, it would be a penalty to the 585 car if there was one to be applied, but I think that was just an unfortunate mistake rather than, you know, a silly action. It's not like he was trying to make a move or get past anybody. That was just an unfortunate spin that just didn't stop before he was collected by Michi Hoyer. But there we go. That is the nature of the beast. And neither car has changed position, so you can argue no harm, no foul on that one. Just a slight deviation from the plan in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, just a way to spice it up for Michi Hoyer et al. At Burst eSports Simplexity. Maybe a little bit of a heart-in-mouth moment that none of the team needed, but they got one anyway. We've got Angel Banegas into the pit lane, splash and dash for the MCM Motorsport team, so they'll not be stopped for long. Their way down the pit lane. Damien Scovron then in the number 94 car, the Burst eSports good as sunglasses, and we were talking to Tom about how, you know, they were wanting some rain to just fall. That's all they wanted. They pretty much sacrificed a bit of car performance because they were expecting more rain than they actually got. So they might count themselves a little bit unlucky here, but he did give the greatest advert for their sponsors I think we've ever seen. I was a fan of it. It sold me.
Well, that's what advertising is supposed to do, in a manner of speaking. So, yeah, the contract fulfilled for them, I think it's fair to say. As we continue to watch Damien Scovron, 10 seconds behind James Dziuba in the satellite racing car. I mean, there really hasn't been anybody that hasn't had some kind of adventure, good or bad, throughout this race. We started with 27 cars and we've lost, let's have a quick count, 4 GTEs and 1 DPI, GT3 and NMP2 along the way. So 7 cars won't see the checkered flag, 20 of them will. And again, for vast majority of the race, our drivers have put on an absolutely stunning performance. A few mistakes here and there, but of course that is to be expected, as this race will draw to a close in just shy of 12 minutes. And so quite a few of the championships are really going to be shuffled up. I think it's fair to say the DPI one is somewhat one-sided towards Burst at the moment, but there's still 3 more rounds to go through. We'll be heading to Interlagos in Brazil. Next time out, will that favour the CKR car? I wonder, does that give them a home advantage? We will see. But yeah, so that's going to be in July. Tail end of July, we'll be heading over to the wonderful Interlagos circuit. And wow, if it rains there, that causes absolute havoc.
It's already between two lakes. Then the lake across turn 3 as well. That's going to be quite something. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We've then got the last 12-hour race of the season at Interlagos, and then we go into the meat of the 24-hour race, the 24 hours of Spa and the 24 hours of Le Mans, both the pinnacles of the championship, and both of them really you want to get your hands on that Le Mans title and try and seal the title there and then in the 24-hour races. Always a highlight, the 24 hours of Le Mans and the 24 hours of Spa. Can't wait for them to roll around, but as you say, 12 hours of Interlagos. Again, I've never been endurance racing around Interlagos. Should be good fun.
Yeah, that'll be a first for me as well. I've not commentated endurance racing at Interlagos. I've seen many races go on at the Brazilian Classic. And then, like you say, Spa. Oh, I mean, who doesn't love Spa? Such an iconic circuit, much like Le Mans is. I hope to do more than 4 hours of Le Mans this year. In my own defence, I was ill with COVID last year. So
you soldiered through. You soldiered through, Mr. Buxton.
I did. Yes. I'll have to find a different excuse this year.
I got off lightly because all I did was lose a voice, which was just hugely frustrating for me and painful and like a cheese grater to everybody else's ears. So there was that.
You do yourself too much discredit, sir. You too soldiered on as best you could. But yeah, it was good fun. Well, every round we've had here at GTR 24H has been a lot of fun for us broadcasting, and we hope that those of you watching along, either live or post-event, have enjoyed it as much as we have. As the checkered flag is looming now, less than 10 minutes remain, and for some of these drivers, it will feel like the longest 10 minutes of their lives. If they're particularly tired, or if they maybe had a bad run and they're just wanting the race to end, whatever the story is, there'll be some that are just willing that checkered flag to fall early, and there'll be those that won't want the race to end, as their time at the top of the tree has done quite well. Wow, that was a side-by-side there. That, I think, was the 32 car that was side-by-side with, I didn't quite catch who it was side-by-side with, but we've seen a few damp side-by-sides go badly, and that one I think has gone particularly well. Again, top of the shot, can't see who it was, but still pressing on then. Tonnie Jansen, rather, for the 74 Deuces squad. Can you go, oh, that's a splash and dash for the 404 for Lee Russell. Goodness me. They can afford it, though. They're quite some way ahead.
Absolutely, yeah. No, they have got the timings on their side. They can just go for it. And we also have a couple of provisionals that production have been working on. If it were to finish as it is in 8 minutes time, so not very far away at all, Mr. Buxton, take us away.
How many times have these changed? Quite a few. So that's how the DPI standings would stand if the race were to end now. Of course, Burst taking the top spot, second going to SEM9 Axle, which would put them up into fourth. Or they were in fourth anyway, but they would close the gap between themselves and Unison. As speaking of Maradnis, they would be in second position, taking home 12 points, although they have just spun. Unison, with third place this time around, will be in third position, and SEM9, Team Adrenaline, and Team Viaducton rounding out the DPI table for this event. On to LMP2, and the top of the tree would be SEM9 Axle by a very small margin. Only 3 points at the top of the tree between SEM9 and the Burst. It was a very narrow points gap between them anyway, but SEM9 with the 94 car finishing in fourth position, and that gap is increasing between themselves and Satellite. Isn't looking like it's going to change. Now I've said it, expect someone to be off in the dust. But yes, just 3 points at the top of the tree, and then Deuces in third, Satellite fourth, having coming home with the third place tonight. And we lost Team Iris earlier on, but they did take part in the event, so they would pick up 10 points. Haven't seen the 241, the 7, or 68 in this event. So GTEs then, let's have a look at those tables when we can. And Kieran, all yours.
All mine as Deuces Motorsport will be extending their lead at the top of the table. Almost a flawless run from them so far. DIS SimRacing Lab would be in second place, and Unison Racing would be third, non-finishing here and on countback. Well, see how that plays out, but Mugen in a world of trouble at the moment. MCM Motorsport in fourth place with Musto, the number 54, in fifth place. Satellite Racing in sixth place. Unison Racing in seventh, with ID SimSport in eighth, and Musto number 53, rounding off the 9 GT teams. And just a quick tour through GT3 before we head to the final 5 minutes of the endurance race. Volante Racing by Aztec SimSport would be ahead by 3 points ahead of CKR. Then it would be Glam Racing in third place, B32 Racing in fourth. Mugen Sim Racing, not finishing today's race, would drop to fifth, with DSR Gadget Husit.DK, the 777 in penultimate placing, and the 188 Telefoinigan rounding off our GT3 drivers and teams. 5 minutes to go here at Sebring, and we watch on with Damien Skovron 11 seconds back from James Dziuba. The gap is increasing. He's going to give it everything, but I think time is just going to be against him in these closing stages.
Looks like there's going to be about 3 laps to go then for our lead cars. Michi Hoyer leading the DPI for the 18 Deuces Motorsport team. They have been absolutely peerless in tonight's race. We see Damien Skovron dancing around the Satellite Racing GTE car. That is in the hands of who has got that one? That's yes, of course, it was Tonnie Jansen. No, that's the Deuces car. I beg your pardon. Satellite is Juan Amaya in fourth in the GTEs, catching the back of the CKR car. But yeah, Michi Hoyer, Deuces Motorsport Simplexity team. I think we've spoken to most of that particular squad. I spoke to Jesper earlier on. You spoke to Michi, so we didn't have a chance to speak to Mr. Simoncic or David Murchek, but hopefully we will catch up with at least one of them when the checker flag and dust fall. Michi could probably park the car at this point and still be classified as the winner. Oh, it's a spin for our, or a bit of a moment for our NP2 leader. That's going to cost him a bit of time. There's only 10-second gap actually between Robert Paun and Inigo Anton, so we can't afford to do that too many times. Oh, that gap will vanish. There is Inigo Anton, and we just saw him, and there is Robert Paun. So the SEM9 Axle squad could just about see the Deuces Motorsport number 15 at the end of the start-finish straight, but I think time is going to elude them on this occasion, unless, of course, Robert has another issue that could mean Inigo will challenge for that top spot. We will see. Oh, it's going to come down to the wire. 12 hours and just boils down, in some cases, to these last 3 minutes.
Dziuba's in the garage. Satellite Racing are in the garage.
Oh no!
It means then Damien Skovron for the 94 Burst eSports Good Sunglasses takes over third place. There is the car. James Dziuba has disconnected in these closing stages to bring the car home. They're not even going to get a podium, Satellite. Unbelievable. I can't believe that. After all they've been through, I thought they were going to wrap it up with a podium, and they're not even going to get that.
Wow, closing stages off the race, and that gap was increasing as well, as you were saying earlier, Kieran, third to fourth. The Scotland just couldn't quite match the pace of James Dziuba, and what a way to finish. You don't want to see it. That's another of the LMP cars parked, leaving just the podium 3 occupied. Brief yellow flag, but I didn't quite catch who that was.
DeVille.
Mr. DeVille, was it? So Michi Hoyer then crosses the line with that was a 2:05 lap with 2:06 left on the clock. He could be very cruel, and beat the flag by just that 1 second to extend the race by one more lap. But I think it's fair to say that with 2 laps in hand and only 1 more to go, I think it's fair to say that it doesn't matter really what happens now. That Michi Hoyer is going to bring that car home in. Good point there, actually. Just production saying that if James Dziuba was able to reconnect, the teams do get a bonus point if they finish the race. So whilst you do get points for finishing in the position where your car eventually ends up, if you don't see the checkered flag, you do earn a bonus point if you actually see the checkered flag. So it is still worth James Dziuba reconnecting in the last few minutes, if he's able to, of course, to bring that number 164 car over the line.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really vital then. You know, that bonus point could go a long, long way into the race. And Michi Hoyer here just trying to negotiate the last couple of turns. We'll keep an eye on that top right-hand corner of James Dziuba, see if that car comes to life and tries to take the checkered flag. In the meantime then, Michi Hoyer is making his way through these last couple of corners as he makes his way then on towards Gendenbian Bend. Through then we go on towards Le Mans Curve. Through these right-hander back onto now the Ullman Straight. Onwards and upwards towards Sunset Bend. He could try and just crawl around this one. He doesn't need to throw this car in. He does not need to do anything silly into this last corner here. But will he beat the flag, or will he take the flag? Rounding his way around the final corner, he'll head towards the line, towards the checkered flag. Will it be waving for him as he crosses the line? Yes, it will.
It does.
And there is the checkered flag for the Burst Esports Simplexity number 18. They take the win. They take the victory. Another victory to their name. It will mean that Naquib Azlan will finish in second place, and Denis Eshcenko will bring the Unison car home in third. And we're just awaiting now. There's Robert Paun for the 15 Deuces Motorsport Club. Lights flashing away. They win here in the LMP2 class here at the 12 Hours of Sebring. And they're now just going to watch on and wait for Tonnie Jansen. He's now making his way around the final corner. Deuces are going to win both classes they entered in. LMP2 and GTE has been won. Deuces Motorsport Club with a fantastic haul of points for both classes, and they will be absolutely loving that one. And there is Lee Russell in the 404 Glam Racing. He has got to complete just one more lap here, but he can make this the... Oh, he might have crossed the finish line already, which even if he has or if he hasn't, he was 2 laps ahead of Asatek. So regardless of whether he has seen the flag or not, he will be winning the 404 Glam Racing, and he will be winning the GT3 as we get a lovely shot of the B32 McLaren doing the donuts at the pit lane entrance. Well, it's been a fantastic race. A huge congratulations to all of our class winners here at the 12 Hours of Sebring. Michi Hoyer brings that one home, and Burst Esports Simplexity another 25 points added to their tally, with the extra point for making it to the checkered flag.
Well done to all of our competitors for surviving, quite frankly, because it was a very, very difficult race. Of course, we did lose a few along the way, but even still, it was great to see them all taking part in this event. First or last, they are all, of course, welcome here. I think pretty much everybody that was on a lap has now crossed the line. Some have even done another lap post-event, but this is how the standings look. So it's Michi Hoyer in the Burst Esport number 18, taking the win for DPI. Naquib Azlan for the number 11 SEM9 Axle car in second, and rounding out the DPI podium was Denis Eshcenko in the 17 Unison car. With Henrik Sinik, who actually finished the race in the pit lane in the number 64, with the 33 Sebastian Deville for Team Adrenaline bringing home the number that car in fifth position. Lost the number 1 Viaducton earlier on in the race. LMP2s, wow, that was so hotly contested for so long, but the victory in the end going to number 15, the Deuces Motorsport Club. Oh, you had to interrupt proceedings, didn't you, Michi? There's Robert Paun bringing home the LMP2 win. Inigo Anton, SEM9 Axle in second position, with the Burst Esports Scooter Sunglasses car of Damien Scovron coming home in third. Such a shame for James Dziuba in the 164 satellite car, just not seeing the flag, along with the number 77 of Bensi Horvath in the Team Iris car.
And for GTE then, the class winners there again, Deuces Motorsport Club Tonnie Jansen bringing it to the line in the number 74 DIS SimRacing Lab in second place, with MCM Motorsport rounding off the top three. The 264 Satellite Racing car in fourth, and the last of the finishers was the 166 ID SimSport. Non-finishers, the 717 Unison Racing, Musto Pescara, both the 54 and the 53 not seeing the checkered flag, and also the 67 Mugen Sim Racing car retiring very early on in this race. Taking you through the GT3 order to complete the running order here. The win, their first race win of the season. Glam Racing take the checkered flag ahead of the 585 Aztec SimSports by Volante Racing Team. The number 13 CKO had solid pace, but a couple of rear wings lost puts them in third place. B32 Racing in fourth, with Telefor Inigan in fifth. Then DSR Gadget Husit in sixth place in the 777. Non-finisher, the 82 Mugen Sim Racing Machine. And that is your running order for the 12 hours of Sebring.
Goodness me, 12 stops for the B32 squad in the end and still came home fourth. Great effort there for the black and orange McLaren. So then, who wants to come and have a chat to us? Well, of course, we would love to speak to our winners, but we will deal with that after one more commercial break. Stick with us, we'll hopefully have a chat with the winners of each class when we come back from these commercial messages.
The 2022 Endurance E-Racing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, Aztec SimSports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Stengolm, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN. Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor, or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.